Hey guys, Matt here. Welcome to my fragrance obsession. I hope you're all doing very well. Now, before I start this review, I just want to apologise for the lack of content that I've put on my channel in the last few days. The reason for that is actually because I've been away. I've been all the way in Bournemouth, which is literally the end of the country, like right in the south, so it's miles away from where I live right now. The reason I was there is because I was at a wedding, and I had a great time seeing my best friend, who I've known for 20 years, finally marry the woman of his dreams. It was just a wonderful time, and I really enjoyed myself. But I will say I am glad to be back and to be reviewing fragrances for you guys. Here we go. Now, the fragrance that I'm going to review for you guys today is the third and final flanker. The third and final flanker to a fragrance that was launched in the 1980s. And it's a fragrance that not a lot of people will know. It's not quite popular like a lot of the other 1980s classic fragrances. So this one, when it first came out in the 1980s, it was literally a drugstore fragrance. I think it was only known in parts of the UK and different parts of Europe, so especially in the States and places like that, you won't really know a lot about it. But the fragrance itself was called Rapport. And I think that this fragrance is absolutely amazing. It's so amazing. So incredible. I will actually leave my review for this fragrance at the end of this review. And I also did the second flanker to this fragrance, which was Rapport Sport. But the fragrance that we're going to talk about in this episode is the third flanker, and it is called Rapport Black. Now, this fragrance came out in 2009, and I don't know a lot about it. There's not a lot on this fragrance at all, apart from a notes list. In terms of who designed it, I don't really know. But this fragrance is pretty decent for the price. Here in the UK, you can pick up a 100ml bottle for probably about £3. Seriously, it is that inexpensive for a pretty high quality fragrance like this. And it comes in a eau de toilette concentration. So what we're going to do is, guys, we're going to look at the presentation, then we're going to come back and look at the notes. I'm slurring my words today, guys, because I am very tired from yesterday's journey. But now let's look at the presentation for this fragrance, guys. Rapport Black by Eden Classics. Now, this is actually a pretty cool bottle design. It does remind me of the likes of Drakkar Noir. I mean, you know, when you look at the original fragrance and the Rapport Sport, they're pretty much all the same, but I think the fact that this bottle is black, it does remind me of Drakkar Noir quite a lot. Rapport symbol on the top, we get Rapport Black, and we get eau de toilette and the size of the bottle. Eden Classics on the back there, and we get the atomizer on the top, which I will admit does look pretty cheap, but it does get the job done. Sprayer is decent. Again, does the job of being a fragrance after all. And that is the presentation for Rapport Black by Eden Classics. Now, as a reviewer on YouTube, I absolutely love it when I review fragrances that nobody else has talked about. There aren't any other reviews for this on YouTube, and there aren't even any reviews for this on Base Notes either, so this is going to be interesting. So, let's go over the notes for this fragrance. Now, as soon as you smell this fragrance, it opens up very fresh and green. You get this initial blast of lavender. The lavender is probably the most dominant note in this fragrance. Definitely substituted by the red pepper note, which is in the original fragrance. Definitely has a nice lavender note in it. For it being a cheap fragrance, definitely opens up very nice. The lavender in this is very dominant. It literally hits you in the face. But it smells really good. For the price of it, you cannot go wrong. I mean, I paid for my bottle. I actually got this in a gift set with a deodorant, and I think it cost me like £6, guys. £6. And I just love this fragrance in the first opening because that lavender is so good. But in terms of the Clary Sage, I don't really get a lot of the Clary Sage. What I do get is it's a lavender with a kind of concrete smell underneath, if that makes sense. When I was a kid, I used to collect rocks. I don't really know why. I mean, I know quite a few people used to do that when they were kids, so it doesn't exactly make me weird. But when I was a kid, I used to collect rocks, and when I'd been out all day collecting them, I would come home and I would wash my hands, and the amount of dirt that would come off my hands in the sink was unreal. But that smell is literally something that reminds me in this fragrance. It just sort of takes me back to that moment of washing my hands in the sink and seeing all the dirt go down the drain, you know? It gives me that sort of vibe of the smell of concrete, like dirt or rocks underneath lavender. That's the only way I can really describe it, but it does have a classy edge to it, you know? Again, for being a cheap fragrance, it definitely does have a very formal smell to it. It's definitely a little bit soapy as well, and I mean that does make a lot of sense, especially in the base notes. We do get a lot of notes that would give off a soapy vibe, so I will be talking about those soon. But in terms of the middle notes for this fragrance, now this definitely has one of the most dominant nutmeg notes I've ever smelled in any fragrance. It smells incredible. Literally incredible. But you do get that cedarwood as well. It's not as sweet as a lot of other cedarwoods out there, but it's definitely a noticeable note. You do get it, and it does smell very, very nice. But the fragrance at this point sort of loses its freshness, and it starts to get a little bit more powdery, and it definitely gets a lot more soapy. So if you're into your soapy fragrances, you're really going to like this one. Yeah, at this point it just smells great. It just starts to get more soapy and starts to lose its freshness at this point. So what really excited me about this fragrance was, before getting it, I looked at the notes on base notes, and the one note that really excited me about this fragrance was the incense. I was expecting something very Middle Eastern in the dry down. However, this isn't like that. This fragrance actually reminds me of the smell of straight up smoke. Like the smoke from a fire, or smoke from maybe a fireplace, or something like that. This fragrance on my skin probably lasts about 6 hours, and after that 6-hour mark, it just evaporates from your skin. So in terms of longevity, it is average. But for the price, you can't really go wrong, you know? But I really do like the dry down of this fragrance because you do get a lot of musk. The musk is definitely helping the incense get that smoky vibe going. The amber, pretty good. It's not as sweet, it's not as oriental as a lot of other ambers out there, but it's definitely there. Patchouli, all the way. The patchouli note in this fragrance is so dominant. If you like patchouli, you're going to love this one. But the patchouli really doesn't come into the fragrance literally until the dry down. It's not like one of those notes that you get from the first spray. You have to wait probably about 3 or 4 hours for it to appear, but when it does appear, it smells incredible. Sandalwood, not as much sandalwood as I would have hoped, but you do get a lot of incense. It's just the incense partnering up with that musk, creating a lovely smoky smell, guys. It's so good. But yeah, amazing fragrance. I really like the smell of it, but what really attracted me to it was just the value of it. I mean, you know, £6 for a 100ml and a deodorant, you cannot go wrong. And it's even cheaper for the fragrance on its own as well. So if you're in the UK and you want a really decent, cheap budget fragrance, I would highly recommend this. And to be honest with you, I would recommend all of these fragrances. Literally the original, the sport, and the black. They're all incredible fragrances, but my favourite I would definitely say is the original. So if you're a bit of a retro guy and you like powerhouses, this is a great one to go for. If you like Rapport Sport and you're looking for something a little bit more fresh and vibrant, this is a good one too. And it actually smells a lot like Paco Rabanne 1 Million as well. A little bit. Yeah, a little bit. But this one actually has a bit of a bubblegum smell to it as well, and it actually came out before 1 Million as well. So, like I said, I will be leaving my reviews for these fragrances, so if you are interested, do give them a look. But Rapport Black, amazing fragrance, a lovely woody, incensey, soapy fragrance. I would highly recommend it, guys. It smells awesome. So guys, thank you so much for watching my review for Rapport Black by Eden Classics. Keep smelling good, and I will see you all in the next episode. Bye-bye for now.